Hey, so we're doing radical equations today. The first three questions will be really easy, and just to save time, I'm just going to do the first two. The last three are harder, but I'm just going to do the last two. So I'm not going to do three or four in this video. But if you have questions about three or four, let me know and I'll show you in class. So for number one, well, first of all, one thing that we need to write down is we always want the radical sign by itself. So, like if I look at number one, I have the square root of x plus 5, and then I have this plus 7 that's just hanging out there. I didn't get rid of this plus 7, so I just have the square root part by itself. So to get rid of the plus 7, I'm going to subtract 7 to the other side. To get square root of x plus 5 equals 12 minus 7 is 5. Now the next part, I'm going to get x by itself, but before I can do that, I need to get rid of the square root sign. The best way to do that is to square both sides. So I'm going to square that and square that. So when you square something that's a square root, you're just left with what's in the inside. So I'm left with x plus 5 on the left, and then 5 squared, 25 on the right. And then it's just a one-step equation, so I'm going to subtract the 5 over to get x equals 20 as my answer. Number 2 is very similar. I have this minus 2 that I need to get rid of, so I'm going to add it to the other side. To get square root of c minus 3 equals 6. I need to get rid of the square root sign, so I'm going to square both sides. To be left with c minus 3 equals 36. Add 3 to the other side to get c equals 39 as my answer there. Okay, so those are the easier ones. 5 and 6 are going to be harder because it combines what we did last chapter. So if we look at number 5, I already have this square root symbol by itself. The problem is over here I have two terms instead of the one that I have for numbers 1 and 2. So since I already have the square root symbol by itself, I'm going to go ahead and square both sides. But when you square the right side, you have to square the whole thing together. So on the left side, I'm left with x plus 5. On the right side, I have x plus 3 squared. Now, x plus 3 squared, I'm going to do this off to the side, means x plus 3 times x plus 3. So whenever we have this, we do our FOIL, which is like super distributive property. So we're going to do x times x, which is x squared, x times 3, which is 3x, 3 times x, which is also 3x, and 3 times 3, which is 9. From there, combine like terms, so I'm going to add my 3x's together to get x squared plus 6x plus 9. So since I got this x squared plus 6x plus 9 when I did x plus 3 squared, when I go back over to my equation on the left, I'm going to rewrite my x plus 5 on the left because nothing there changed. But I'm going to replace the x plus 3 squared with this x squared plus 6x plus 9. Now I need to combine my like terms, so I need to move this x plus 5 over to the right side to combine my like terms. So it was a positive x, so over here I'm going to subtract x with my other x. It was a positive 5, so I'm going to subtract 5 over there with my constant. So this x plus 5 went to the other side, so now I just have 0 on the left. I'm going to bring down my x squared. 6x minus x is 5x, and 9 minus 5 is 4. Now I'm going to factor this so that I can figure out what x is going to be. We're going to get two solutions since I have x squared. That's kind of the hint that you have two solutions. So I'm going to think what number multiplies to get 4 but adds to get 5. Okay, so that could be 4 and 1. So since 4 and 1 were my factors, I'm going to put x plus 4 and x plus 1. And then from there, you just set both parentheses equal to 0 and solve it. So x plus 4 equals 0, which would mean that x equals negative 4.
Attention all Cascade Middle School track and field athletes.
Okay.
You should be on your way to the cafeteria if you're not there already. So please, all CMS track runners, please head to the cafeteria immediately. Thanks.
Okay, sorry I paused. Mr. Sieferman just had an announcement, so I stopped to listen. Okay, so then I have x plus 1. I'm going to put that equal to 0 to get x equals negative 1. So those would be my two solutions. Number 6 is very similar because I see I have two terms on one side and then the square root of something on the other side. Since I already have the square root by itself, I'm going to go ahead and square both sides. So I have a minus 3 squared equals a minus 1. Now I'm going to figure out what a minus 3 squared is off to this side. So that's a minus 3 times a minus 3. And again, we're going to use FOIL. So a times a is a squared. A times negative 3 is negative 3a. Negative 3 times a is also negative 3a. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Combine your like terms to get a squared minus 6a plus 9. So I'm going to take this a squared minus 6a plus 9 and put it into my equation. Bring down the a minus 1. Now I need to combine my like terms again, so I'm going to bring this a over and the minus 1 over. So a was positive, so when I bring it over it becomes minus. And then I had a minus 1, so I'm going to do add 1 to the other side. Bring down your a squared. Oops. Negative 6a minus a is negative 7a. 9 plus 1 is 10. The a minus 1 will end up being 0 since it went to the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 10 and think what two numbers multiply to get 10 but add to get negative 7. Then that's going to be negative 2 and negative 5. Since those were negatives, when I go to write them down in parentheses, I write minus 2 and x minus 5. And then set both parts equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0 would give me x equals 2. And then x minus 5 equals 0 would give me x equals 5. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know. If you want to try 3 and 4 and you want to check your answers or had a question about them, let me know and I could show you those as well.